Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want.
So I felt NaNo. We'll just go ahead and get that out of the way up front. Last month turned into a whole circus of stress for my family, and writing just didn't happen. I think I got maybe 5,000 words, and all of those words just aren't right. I definitely feel like I was writing my stress into the words and into the story, and I definitely didn't want to be doing that, but it was happening. So probably all those words are going to be scrapped, and that's okay. I've definitely decided that the story is not ready to be written and that it just needs to be a dust bunny idea for a little bit longer so that it can kind of bulk up on its own in my mind, and then I will return to it later because I absolutely love the story and I don't want it to be tainted by like what's going on in my life, and the tone of it leans slightly darker than most things that I write. It's still like whimsical and fun and adventure-y, but because it has those gothic tones, it could lean dark, and I don't want to push that over what I intend for it to be because I want it to remain fun. And what I was writing was just going way darker than I wanted it to. So contrary to popular advice, I'm going to be switching projects. Now, I know that there's a lot of good quality in that advice, especially for newer writers that find it difficult to finish projects. But I have written a couple of books at this point, and I think what I'm honing in on is that if I want to actually be productive and not spin my wheels, I need to switch projects. So even if it is taboo, I am excited about it. I'm excited to kind of leave behind some of the stress that was happening last month. To everyone who sent well wishes to Andrew, we truly did appreciate that. I wish I could say he's 100% better, but that's just not where we're at right now. He does feel a lot better than what he did, and actually we ended up having another hospital stay and multiple overnight ER visits. So you know, April just wasn't my month. Like, even my laptop wasn't cooperating, so it was not happening. I have accepted that, and I'm ready to move on. This is my screen right now. The saga of this computer pooping out is just, and like, I dropped it a while ago, so, well, that's a good sign. I think it's gonna turn back on. So all of these things are kind of playing into my decision to switch projects. So I'm going to be going back to my pirate project that I wrote in November. It is all fun, all bright, all happy adventure, pirate fantasy, fun stuff. So I'm hoping that the frustration I'm feeling with writing will kind of melt away. Also, schedule-wise, I would just continue to feel behind if I were to stick with that project because I was trying to write a book within a quarter and get it to editor/query ready. So May is about the time that I wanted to have a completed first draft, somewhere in the beginning of May. And so by switching projects, I'm giving that back to myself so that I don't have to feel behind all the time and I can actually be productive. What I'm going to do now is print the project off. I've actually never printed off a project before because typically I don't want to waste the paper and I end up losing it anyway. However, I'm hoping that switching up my process will kind of help get me out of this writing funk and bring back the joy of writing again. I just want to get out of my head with it, so I feel if I print it off and I do some handwriting, like the tactile medium will kind of help me do that and just so that is the current plan. However, it has recently come to my attention that I don't own a 3-hole punch. So I think I'm gonna have to print it off to Happy Planner size and put it in an extra Happy Planner cover that I have because I want to make sure that I can keep it all together and not lose it. So I think if I can get this printer to cooperate and print double-sided, it will actually fit. No promises, but that's like the current plan. So pretty much we're gonna get set up for attacking this new project. I'm feeling good about it. I absolutely loved writing this project, and because it has sat there for a while, I've kind of been mulling over it more, and I've had some thoughts already of some world building that I want to dig deeper into. So I feel like this is the right decision. I feel like I'm not going to be spinning my wheels with this project, and I'm actually going to be productive. And that's exciting because I haven't written in a month, and I feel so ready to just start fresh. So that's what we're doing. Ta-da! There was definitely some trial and error, but now I'm just going to put it in here and we'll go from there. Okay, I did it! That was rather intense for what it is, but I didn't have a hole punch, so here we are. Okay, so here's how it turned out. I didn't do like a cover page or anything. I just went for it, I guess. So this is my manuscript. It was trial and error, and it's a little crafty, but it will work for what we're using it for. Then I have this divider and blank paper for taking notes if I have any notes I don't want to write in the actual text. And then I have this little folder that I stuck these stickies in case I want to use them. I've got a bookmark in here that is really cute in my opinion. And then I went ahead and grabbed some index cards and punched them so that they'll just fit into the manuscript and I can take notes on them. I feel like this is how I would prefer to do it, is just take notes and be able to stick them in where they go as opposed to like having whole sheets of notes. But I have both options depending on whatever mood I'm in at the time. So yes, I am really excited to reread this book. I have not read it in a really long time, so I know I'm going to be surprised for sure. So what I'm going to do now is probably just go upstairs, get in my egg chair, and start reading. So I just finished the first 2 chapters. I kind of forgot that I have a chiropractor appointment a little later, so I need to like go get ready for it and probably leave very soon. I'm being very intentional and slow with this read through. I'm making a ton of inline comments, just really about anything. I have a running list of actionable kind of to-do list tasks that I know I'm going to need to go through per chapter, and then I'm marking things that I like with gray just so they don't get lost, or maybe I can expound on them. And then also I have this red highlighter for the things that I just don't like the wording of or that I just want to change completely. I've been using the tabs to mark plot points that I vaguely remember might become a problem later on. So I can already tell that that's going to give me a leg up on some of the editing process just by being able to quickly flip to the page of the plot point that is a problem. So I'm making slow but very intentional and thorough progress. So I'm pretty happy with getting through the first 2 chapters, and there's a ton of potential in this story. Immediately while reading it, even on the first page, I remembered how much potential this story actually has and how like important it is to me, just because I am obsessed with pirates. And this is kind of my homage to my love of pirates and fantasy. Also, this is the closest thing I've had to my story being in a book format, anywhere near a book format, and I love it. So I'm really enjoying that too. That's kind of like an added bonus that I wasn't expecting. I don't know why. I should have thought of that. Like, oh, you're kind of binding your book. That's what I just did. And I'm legitimately sad to be putting the story down. Like, I want to keep reading it. So just a lot of good signs here. Good morning. I'm just kind of working from my bed today. I don't have appendicitis, which is always good. I just wanted to quickly show y'all the plan that I have. This is just like a rough plan and very functional. I didn't decorate it or anything, but as you can see, we are here, and this did not happen yesterday because of the events of yesterday. So I'm really hoping to use today as like a full work day, and really catch up and get through half my story today. So that is the plan. So I forgot to mention that I'm starting on page 34 and that I want to get through page 125. So I've got about this much to go. So I'm through Act 1, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it so far. I really kind of like where I ended Act 1. It's like a slight cliffhanger. Definitely made me want to keep reading. The main con or like plot issue that I'm coming up with so far is that the male point of view is slightly weaker, slash, I wouldn't say it's weaker so much as there are some plot points that I hadn't fully developed. I think what it is that I don't love his character motivation right now, so I think I'm gonna have to spend some time and work on that, and that will change and have a huge domino effect throughout the book. But I am flagging those so far. I've flagged all of them with little sticky notes, so it should be fairly easy to go back through and follow the thread. It's not bad, it's just if I changed up a few things, I think it would just be stronger, and I think I would enjoy it more, and it's slightly more realistic if I were to change it. So a lot of my notes do have to do more so with his point of view, and I'm not surprised by that at all, because I had the hardest time figuring him out, and so I kind of just got a decent grasp of his character and motivation, and then just wrote the story. And there were definitely some plot points that I was unsure of that I just ran with so that I could write the thing. Some of it isn't even his character, more so as where the world is at politically highly influences his character. I know that doesn't really make any sense, but that's just the truth of the matter, is that if I get more of the politics figured out, his motivation becomes more clear. I think I've come up with an editing game plan to keep me on track with finishing this book in this quarter. So I'm excited about that, and I'm hoping that I get a decent amount more done today. read through my entire book, and I gotta say, it holds up. Like, obviously, there are some flaws. I wrote this book in 30 days. Really, it only starts to kind of fall apart in the third act, and I've kind of already identified the problems and even tagged the scenes that domino effect into the problem. So I thought I was going to be reverse outlining the book now, but what I think really needs to happen more so than that is a complete Act 3 replot. I did keep extensive notes on the issue while I was reading through, and also like really good solid brainstorming ideas to fix the problem. So really, I think once I start digging into the problem, I've already found the solutions, but I want to plot it out. And also, I have a third POV character that wasn't fully fleshed out. When I started writing the book, I focused on the two main characters, and so there's definitely some holes in his story that I'll need to figure out. And just like some normal things throughout the script. So essentially now what I'm working with is a huge edit letter to myself. I've written out by chapter and page even what the issues are and what I think needs to change. I wrote out a character list for myself because I have this really bad habit of naming something at some point in the novel, and then later on down the way I completely forget what I name it, so I just put like XX and keep going so I don't have to like trudge back through the novel to figure out what I named this particular place or person or whatever. So I went ahead and made myself a master key list of all of my characters and like a short description of them so that I can start working on that continuity as well. And lastly, I started a repetitive words list for all the words that I used repetitively that just jumped out at me in this first read through. So instead of a reverse outline, I think what this particular novel needs from me at this point is for me to go through the anatomy of story with my characters. Specifically, my male character, I need to work a little bit on his inner issues. I just want to work through the character chapter and the like moral argument chapter of this book with him just a little bit, just so I can like really just get a clear vision of what I want his true character arc to be. And then I brought Romancing the Beat down here because I think what I'm going to do is do a whole Act 3 replot. So that is what I'm going to do now. I do have to say I was hesitant to switch over to this book at the beginning of this vlog, I think, just because I didn't want to feel like I was giving up on my other book, and I didn't want to do the whole like idea book hopping and never finish anything. But I'm so glad I did. This was truly the move I needed to take to actually get back into the joy of writing, because I was just feeling a lot of pressure and everything felt heavy, and I think I was attaching that to the other book, because looking back, that book is not really a heavy book. It's a fun book, but for whatever reason, obviously life circumstances, it wasn't meshing well with me, and this book is just like a sigh of fresh air, and it really has nothing to do with that other book. That other book is amazing, and it is waiting for me when I am ready to tackle it. This book truly does have that like keep moving forward momentum to it that I needed to just like pull me back into writing. So if you're feeling that way about a project and you're nervous about switching, just know that people out here do switch books all the time, and sometimes it really is the right decision. And it doesn't mean that you won't go back to that other book. It truly is just like strategizing your writing journey. And you're allowed to make strategic moves that take you away from where you thought you would be. Needless to say, I'm very excited to hop into this replot and dig more into my main character. I just finished. The breakthrough totally happened. I read through my notes and just started replotting. I ended up thoroughly replotting 5 of the 8 chapters that were in my Act 3, and it just flowed right out of me. I wish I could say that I fully nailed down my male character's motivation and then the plot came to me, but for whatever reason, the order of events made me realize what his mindset needed to be in those moments, which had like a backwards domino effect, and then I was like, oh, his motivation has to be this instead of what I was trying to make it. Now it's all clear, it all makes sense, and his motivation, this is the funny part, his motivation actually fits with the character I first envisioned of this guy. In my mind, when I first started this whole thing, like I wanted this rapscallion pirate captain guy, right? And for whatever reason, I was trying to I don't know if I was trying to make him deeper or something. I think I was trying to work against a cliche, but what I ended up doing now is I kind of ended up embracing that cliche of that pirate guy, but in a way that gives him his own code of honor, which is kind of what you want in a pirate anyway, right? So I think I nailed it. I'm definitely a lot happier with this new plot structure. It just made the last chapter and the ending, the finale of the whole book, so much sweeter. So I love that that's how it turned out. So I can't believe it. I am ready to start edits on this book. I'm pretty sure I already have the game plan for that set up, but I won't bog down this vlog with it. It is going to be so much fun to edit this book. I am so excited. This book is truly a book of my heart. A ton of the things that I love about pirates I have put into this book, and I just love it so much. I feel like when I'm reading it, I can see my love for the subject matter. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you stick around to see where we go from here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!